Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Bisaya Tokiti, and as you all know, I've been doing some series of my course structure for this semester. I did one on statistics, I did one on new venture creation. This is another one, and this one will be on enterprise management cases. I don't know the university where you're watching me from. I say a big shout out to you. But the enterprise management cases is like a continuation of the new venture creation. So there are some similar things we have to also do there. And enterprise management cases is a 400 level course. Depending on the department unit where you are, faculty, that will determine the course the course code. It is a 2 unit course in my own institution. It is also compulsory, and it is elective for some other students. It's not for business students. I don't think it's compulsory. It is elective for business. For entrepreneurship students, it is compulsory. For finance, for accounting, I think they can pick it as elective if they choose to. Then it's also a first semester course, and this is 2021-2022 academic section. I'm trying not to mix it up, but I think this is 2021. No, this is 2021-2022 academic section. It's not 2022-2023. We have not gotten 2023 yet. It's 2021-2022 academic section. And what will be the mode of the lecture? As you all know, my lectures will be one-on-one most times, but also showcasing our slides so that students can be carried along while the lecture goes on. We also have discussion, case studies. We treat lots of case studies to help us have an in-depth knowledge of what enterprise management cases is all about. Then we also have some debate or class presentation. Students could be divided into a group of 10 each or 20 depending on the number of students offering this course. Then we would share the topic so that students can also read ahead of the class and discuss their own topic. Then, like I said, it's compulsory for some students, and it starts as elective for some other students. It will be offered once a week. You already know my name, my department, you know my phone number, my official email address, you know my contact period when you can see me after the lecture. It's immediately after the lecture, a period of 2 hours after the lecture in my office. Then what is the course all about? One, the enterprise management and cases course would provide students with the understanding of the basic theory and principle by which enterprises are being organized and managed in our society. It will also demonstrate competency by analyzing management function, principles, processes that contribute to the achievement of organizational goals and objective. Like we said in the new venture creation that it will help us to develop our business plan, our feasibility report, our model. This is just a continuation of that. Then this course covers the concept, the theory, the techniques of entrepreneurial management in the business sector. It also examines the nature of entrepreneurship and typical characteristics of the enterprise. It will also teach us how we can generate our fund and how we can also formulate, implement, and maintain our idea that turns into a product or a service. Then, like we said, the enterprise management cases is a process involved in the smooth running and management of our business venture or our enterprises. It has different stages. Then enterprise is also about wealth creation, creativity, resourcefulness, and exploiting change. The following are some of the questions that we need to address at the end of the semester. What do enterprise need to do after the startup phase? How do they generate fund? What is the survival key or survival tactics for them? Then how do they compete successfully with others in the marketplace? Then how do they also take a large market share out of the total market share rather? Then upon the completion of this course, students should be able to have a comprehensive understanding of the key concept and principle and some of the principles of entrepreneurship. They must also be able to develop these tools and techniques necessary to draw up a business plan for their startup company. They must also develop an awareness of funding sources and its uses. They must also appreciate the issues involved in managing the startup to growth of an enterprise. Then we have other ones. Then you should also be able to explain the life cycle of an enterprise, in particular the developmental phase. Then also recognize the key factors for development of new enterprise. Then lastly, to cut the video short, you have to be able to explain the role and structure of management that enables the development of the enterprise. Then you should also be able to apply all the concepts you have learned in the course of this course to the real world situation. Then what are the course content now? What are the course outline or structure? For the next 10 to 15 weeks, we'll be looking at all these outline. The first one we'll look at is what's the growth strategy. Don't forget, at the new venture class, we have been able to develop the business, we have been able to do the copyright, the trademark, the intellectual property, right? We know the type of business that we are doing already. There is a business plan. Then what is the next stage? How do I expand from where I used to be to where I am going? What is the future? What is the future, or the vision to the future, or the way to the future of my organization? How do I grow from small business or businesses to having multiple businesses to growing into medium or large enterprise? Then another thing we need to know is the competitive strategy. Don't forget, there is no how, except when you are using, okay, maybe before the competitive strategy, I should talk about the business strategy first. We'd also look at the business strategy. And in looking at the business strategy, we are looking at two major strategies. We have the blue ocean strategy and the red ocean strategy. The blue ocean strategy is something novel that has never existed before. And that means if you are creating such a product or service, it means you have to create your own customer. You have new customer, you have new trend. People will start following you based on that thing that you have created. But a red ocean strategy, I said the blue ocean strategy was the first one. Then the red ocean strategy is a process where there is an already existing market similar to what you do. And now you have to fight the competitors. You have to find a way to survive in the midst of the lions and people who do similar things that you do. And that is why I said, let me talk about the business strategy before the competitive strategy. Then that leads to the competitive strategy, because for us to get a blue ocean idea, it is maybe idea from heaven. It takes God. Like let's say the idea of Steve Jobs that developed the iPhone generation. I know why I was in secondary school, it used to be iPod, where you can download tons of music on it, and we always put it in the air like that. Then after the iPod, I think iPhone came. After iPhone, iPad. After iPad, we have other inventions that has also taking place. That when iPhone came into existence, it was a blue ocean strategy, because there was nothing like that. It was just similar. Their technology was unique, was novel, was new to the world, as at the time they were coming into the market. So we have to also look at the competitive strategy. Then in the fourth week, we have to look at the business life cycle from starting to growth to maturity to decline, and like that. We have to look at the business cycle and what it entails. Then we also have to look at financing your business. We cannot overemphasize financing, because at every point in time, the owners or entrepreneurs need different level of financing for different stages of their business. So we also want to look deep into how to raise capital. What are the sources of capital available? How do we access venture capitalists? How do we get support even from the government, either state or the federal government? I know there are lots of initiatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria that wants to support startup or new businesses. How do we have access to that? Then another thing we'll look at is the organizational structure. Then by looking at the organizational structure, we look at the organizational theory. We have forms and function of organizational structure. We look at classical organizational structure. We look at team management by objective, then team management, and like that. Then in the 7th week, we look at human resources. We can look at some of the theories of human resources, the classical school of thought, the behavioral school of thought, as our time permit, the system school of thought, the scientific management school of thought would also define what human resource management is depending on our time. How do we satisfy our employees so that they don't leave our organization? What are the policies and things that are in place so that none of your employee leaves to a competing business and they use that to outshine you. So there are some of the things those are some of the things we'll be looking at. We'll be looking at recruitment policies, hiring, what is it about, managing performance, training and development. We look at tons of things that are related to human resources. Then another topic that is germane to this enterprise management and cases course is marketing. How do we actually get our products to people who need them, to the final consumer? How do we not even only getting it to the final consumer? We have to reach a larger audience, because the more audience we reach, the better for the company or the organization or the product. Sometimes some product or services are good, but they don't have people to use them. It is not known, so you have to make it known. So we'll be looking at the importance and nature of marketing. We're looking at the marketing function. We'll be looking at the marketing concept. We'll be looking at the strategy, the marketing mix, the marketing plan, and many other things under marketing. Then another topic we'll be looking at is the some of the strategies that you can use to reduce cost, and one of such strategy is called outsourcing. We'll be looking at what is the definition of outsourcing, that is giving out some of your responsibility or things that is not called to you to people who is called to them. Then we'll also learn why organization outsource. Maybe you have a product or you have a services. What are the reasons to consider for you to outsource? Then what is the process of outsourcing? What are the benefits? What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages of outsourcing? What are the hidden costs in outsourcing? What we would also learn the core and non-competencies. We learn element of strategic outsourcing. We also look at the role of outsourcing in an organization. Another strategy we use is called subcontracting. We'd also know at every point in time when you have to subcontract some of your responsibility objectives that is not called to you out to another organization. In subsequent week, would also look at internationalization process of the enterprise. What do we mean by internationalization process? It means gradual increment into other countries, other nations of the world, gradual involvement. Maybe you want to start with regular exports, or you want to start with subsidiaries, or you want to start with exporting those products, or you want to have a manufacturing plant in some of those countries, because no product or service is small. It just starts gradually. And many people are also looking at the technology side of entrepreneurship now, that you don't even need to be physically in those countries before your product or services are represented in those countries. Then the last topic we'll look at for this semester is called technology entrepreneur or entrepreneurship. What is technology entrepreneur? What is the role of the government, the university, the academic? Then what are the barriers to technology entrepreneurship? What are the advantages? Then also, I forgot to mention the reading list. You can Google some materials, relevant materials online, but there is this particular textbook that I've seen and I use. It's called Ogoman C and Kumiam J. It's published by the International Edition, the Enterprise in Action International Edition, the 6th revised edition by the Cengage Learning, by Cengage Learning. Then another one that is by Bombs P 2014, Entrepreneurship and Small Businesses. Entrepreneurship and Small Businesses, Startup Growth and Maturity, the 4th edition, by Palmgrave Macmillan. By Palmgrave Macmillan. Then we already know the assessment method. Attendance to class is compulsory. The continuous assessment is continuous assessment. So we have series of class assignments, presentation, test, and all that constitutes 40 marks, or 40% of the total mark. Then the remaining 60% will be our final exam, which will be a written essays and giving us questions that we have treated in the course of the semester. Then the approved grading system, don't forget that the maximum points grading system you can have here is 4.0 and 4.0, though other universities use grades like 5.0, 6.0, 7.0. Where I graduated from is 5.0 we used to use, but here we use 4.0. And even it was here that I realized that some schools, that the grading system for each school differs, because I've never seen 4.0. It is unique to our own university, and we appreciate the management. Then, so the approved grading system, for you to have 70, for you to have A, which is 4.0, you must have 70 and above. For you to have B, which is 3.0, you must have between 60 to 69. For you to have C, which is 2.0, you must have between 50 to 59. For you to have D, which is 1.0, you must have between 45 and 49. We don't have E in this system. The last alphabet on that is F. It means you have 44 below, 44 and below, that is 0. I hope this has been educative, interesting to you, and value adding. Most importantly, I wish you a very successful semester, a stress-free and a smooth semester. God bless you all. Don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to watch my videos, then also turn on your notification button so that you know, or you'll be the first person to know when I upload a new video. Thank you. Bye.